Football. G'day, this is NFL Straya. I'm your co-host, Jaymz Clements. I'm a guy. You can see me on NBA Straya, the official NBL Supercoach show, the panel, I don't know, a bunch of other stuff. Here in Larry Armour Studios, because the fancy studios just shut down. We just shut it down.
Back her up, boys.
For Christmas, I'll tell you. Gerald is just like, he's just out of here. Producer Gerald's just gone. So they call me Producer Jim. But on the other side of this here screen is a bloke. It's a lot of cry Eagles cry.
Settle down. It's like
his
we're fine.
10-game winning streak has come to a abrupt halt. His QB's out concussed. It's all over. Pack her up. It is the Ramsack Alarmy. He's all excited for Christmas. He's my mate. He's your
Christmas?
mate. Yeah, it's Christmas. That's the Kiwi version. Oh, Christmas. Christmas. It's Gaz. Gaz, what's going on?
Hey, bud. I'm looking forward to Gerald listening back to this and let's see how much we fuck it up. Because when we did the last episode, it was just after 5. Well, it was after 5 o'clock. We crammed it through. Gerald was like tapping his watch. Was like, "Come on, boys, I've got holidays to get to." So let's see how much we screw this up, and he might never want to go on holidays again. But it's been a crazy, mate. We've got football across every day, like winding down. It's fucking fantastic. I'm not too stressed about what happened this week. I'm okay. So we'll get into that, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, I got my Christmas hat.
Oh, there you go.
Cracking on over the top. There is a 0% chance Gerald listens to this show.
Fair call.
Just on legit holidays with his family. He's just like, nah.
Fuck these guys.
These idiots talk about football, no chance. But that's right. It is the Christmas show. It is Christmas Eve. Like we always do this on a Tuesday. The thing is, we're doing it earlier on a Tuesday than we usually would. We are going to wrap the vast majority of Week 16, though, because as Gaz pointed out, there's been a crap ton of football anyway across like every day for the last 6 days, essentially. Yep. So we'll do all the wraps for all that, all the little bits of news. I've got some yeah-nahs. We'll also look at the playoff seedings. There's only a couple of things sort of still to be decided over the last couple of weeks. We've got our usual awards. We've got fantasy, which is absolute chaos at the moment. Just pour one out if you went up against Jonathan Taylor, just FYI. And we've got our Week 17 picks, which basically start Thursday. Like we're on. Like it's like the same thing happens with the NBA, the NBL, the BBL. There's just like no stopping between the rounds from here on out. So it's chaos. So we better get into it, I guess. What is it? Episode 100.
$1,000.
I'm used to saying 1,100 and whatever for NBA Straya, but it's 116 of NFL Straya. Merry Christmas. Let's go. Oh no. Oh geez, I'm helpless. Oh no. Call an ambulance. But not for me. G'day, this is Jared Goff, and you're listening to NFL Straya. All right, guys, I'll tell you what. That was really my favorite part of this entire weekend of football, which has been, as you pointed out, been going for a really long time. But Jared Goff faking falling over and Jahmyr Gibbs doing the same thing, and then them just throwing a dime to Sam Laporta for a touchdown was just kissing fingers emoji. I loved it. It was awesome.
But then when people picked up the reference of where it came from the Packers play against those same Bears, it just made it even fucking tastier, didn't it?
Well, I mean, this is the Chicago Bears experience, just being kicked in the dick by the NFC time after time after time. I love it, though. Anyway, what are we looking at this week? I mean, it's getting toy like a toy gut at the top, which is pretty fun, Gaz. I mean, your Eagles, the NFC is just still chaos, which is very fun. Jalen Hurts, obviously, with the concussion call. I do like Eagles fans are off their rocker at the best of times, and at the worst of times, they're like, conspiracy, we're burning it down. They go full Jan 6. It's awesome.
Yeah.
There is that Venn diagram is a circle, basically. But anyway, basically, the conspiracy theories are like Jalen Hurts is giving the thumbs up on the sideline, but the call has been put in from the league on. Nah, take it.
Yeah.
We need this to be interesting the last 2 weeks. So
yeah.
Sit him, put in Kenny, release the picket as it is, and boom.
Also, give sportsman like conduct penalties to CJGJ after he gets punched in the head. We're just taunting. Just send off the safety while the quarterback's gone. Well, yeah, it was pretty wild, but we'll touch base on that game. But
I mean, I don't know. Right. They obviously put in the call to make Devonta Smith drop that catch as well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, 100%.
Anyway, to rewind into last week, we were like, oh, geez, Patrick Mahomes has like got a low-grade high ankle sprain, and Geno Smith's done his knee. Nah, turns out they're both fine. They both played really well, which is kind of fun. And I guess in terms of like the injuries in gear this week, like the biggest one is Tank Dell, really, more than anything.
100%. Shredded his knee by all reports. ACL, dislocated kneecap.
Just don't watch it, and you're all good. But outside of this, I think Deontay Johnson has already been picked up by... He got dropped by Baltimore eventually, and he got picked up by the Texans just as we sort of jumped on this morning. My other favorite is... I'm going to talk about him a little bit more in hashtag spoiler alert in Old Mate No Mates, but Aaron Rodgers going on McAfee today and be like, oh, geez, yeah, it's going to be pretty weird to get cut by a teenager. And you're like, yeah, it would be fucking weird.
Yeah.
If you hadn't been shit, you wouldn't get cut, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Christ. Anyway.
I suppose the other big news, obviously, is it's come out, speaking of being cut, is that Kirk's no more, right? He gets replaced during the week by Penis Jr. And it's come out going, oh, yeah, he's not going to get his roster bonus on March 17, whenever it is. He's going to be, that's St. Patrick's Day. I remember that one. But he's not going to get his roster bonus, so he'll be gone. And wonder where Kirk's going to underperform next.
Well, he does still get paid out his entire contract, which is still gigantic. So $90 million for 14 games for the Atlanta Falcons is still pretty good business, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd happily take that. If you want me, Gaz, to play 14 games of NFL for $90 million, I will put my hand up. I will be the bigger man, and I will say, yes, I will play those 14 games of NFL football. Let's bloody go. Anyway, good times, great memories.
All right. Let's just investigate that. You've got to do it, but you have to play it behind your current New England offensive line.
Yeah, can't spend $9 million if you're dead. Can't take a look at it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That went dark.
Anyway, at least Drake May. Look, I am working on, so for NBA Straya, we've got, a thing for Christmas for every team in today's episode.
Yeah.
And NFL, you could almost do the same and just like, you look at the Bears, you look at the Pats, and can we just get an O-line? Like, I was sort of, and this is sort of apropos of really nothing, but I was just sort of talking about with the other day with mates of mine, we're out for a few tins as you do in this silly season. And you're like, right, in the glory days of the NFL, like when we were able to watch more and more games over here, right?
Mm-hmm.
As League Pass sort of happens, as we get more stuff on Foxtel and like, what was it? Like the weird sort of digital channels over here, like 10 Gem and shit like that.
Awesome. Yeah.
Remember one? Yeah, that was a
thing.
That was weird. But it's like, yeah, you'd basically tune in and you'd be seeing probably a half decent quarterback. And you're like, that makes sense. There's 32 teams. In the world, we're probably going to have like 20 plus competent quarterbacks. And then you look at this season and like the wrap up from it is, we don't have 20 plus good QBs. Like this week alone, Gaz. And I was sort of throwing this around in my brain. Mason, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Mm-hmm.
We had DTR. We had
Cooper Rush.
We had Cooper Rush. We had a slew of rookies as well, which is probably the key aspect, right? When you have like these really strong QB rookie classes, it makes all the difference. And this year feels like we might have one with Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, maybe, and that Falcons team look way more fun with him. And obviously even JJ McCarthy, right? And that sort of makes a big difference because CJ Stroud, kind of disappointing this year. Whoever the Steelers are rolling out there, Russell Wilson, good game, and then just goes all hero ball, gets KO'd.
Yeah.
The Giants have and the Raiders, you're like, who? What is going on here? This is disgusting. Drew Lock, AOC, and they've sort of cycled through all these horrible, horrible dudes. On the Saints today, we're going to have up against the Packers. Like, who knows? We're probably going to have Spencer Rattler again. We have a dearth of good QBs. Even the Colts, who took Tony Richardson number 4 a couple of years ago, he's like about to, or he's pushing. If he hadn't gone 7 of 11,
Flacco, yeah,
he's going to this point. It's the It's the Tebow line. The lowest completion percentage for a QB across an entire season, I think, was Tebow at like 46.5%. And Tony Richardson is right there. He's like at 47.6, I think, for the season. You're like, oh,
Jesus Christ.
Jesus. So, like, that's a top-notch QB pick. Obviously, Trey Lance went number 3 as well a couple of years ago, never to be heard from basically again. You had 2 tiny boys, the little fellas running around in like Cards Panthers, which is really fun. You've got the resurrection of Sam Darnold out of nowhere, but then you have a look at.
But you got JJ coming back, so he's not even guaranteed to stay, right? So where's Darnold going next?
It's all chaos. So it was kind of this sort of thing that I'm like, yeah, every team, like over a third of the league right now, would be looking at this going, oh, we could use a bit of it. We'd use a cute for Chrissy. I'm just saying. Yeah. Santa Jim, can you help us out? I'm like, no, I can't. I don't have no power. But anyway, hopefully it gets better. But like this year is like a shitty draft for QBs as well. So anyway. Right, should we wrap up some games?
Yeah, let's do it.
I think we should. Oh God. Hey, remember the Denver Chargers game? Because I fucking checked this. It's a really long time ago now. Denver 27, Chargers 34. The free kick, remember that?
How was it?
First one since like 1978, I want to say.
Harbaugh was stoked, mate. Did you see that when they asked him about it afterwards? He was fucking grinning from ear to ear. He was just like, I'm not going to lie. I've been waiting for a chance to do that.
You know, that's the only thing. That's the only thing that gets like him and Belichick and Vrabel hard anymore. It's like, like when Vrabel wound that clock against Belichick in the playoff game, you know that he was just rock hard. And Harbaugh was the exact same with the free kick. He's like, oh my God, we get the free kick. This is going to be awesome. Check this out. Boner town. But anyway, this kept the Chargers they basically locked themselves into the playoffs with that win and puts them. If they don't lose out now, they're basically all sorted. And I think they play my beloved Patriots this week and I think they play the Raiders again too. So I think they're all right. But Denver, look, this was a weird game where it felt like the Chargers were going to blow it at many different times to the point where they were down, 21-13, I think, at the half, and sort of just went, we're better than these guys. Fucking check this out. And Herbs was really, really good on one leg, 284 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and considering that like offense was sort of built around the running backs and stuff. Yeah, Gus Edwards just popped off, and you're like, all right.
Yeah, that was surprising. I thought that obviously I picked the Denver because I thought that defense with Herb's Hubbard would be able to control them, but they did enough. They did enough.
Texans 19, Chiefs 27. Mahomes' ankle, his demise was greatly exaggerated. Clearly, he ran for like a 15-yard fucking touchdown in the first half. You're like, come on. We've just spent this entire week, and you're just taking the piss. This is the exact Texans team that we've been yelling about all season on this show, guys.
Yeah. Bit fucky. It was under control for most of the game. Tank Dell gets
obliterated,
shredded. On Chiefs, they're starting to get the ball more and more to Xavier Worthy as the season goes on. So got some weapons going out there.
And Hopkins. And, like having that
Hopkins.
Having Pacheco and Hunt as well. Like their offense looked better than it has in weeks, I reckon.
Yeah.
They're 14-1 now, the Chiefs. The only 14-win team in history to not score more than 30 points.
Yeah.
Also, it's chaos.
Yeah.
This is a team that averaged 35 a couple of years ago. And it's just like, we're busted now. We can't. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's all broken.
It's not happening.
Anyway, Texans, look, I can't wait to bet against them in a playoff game. Just simple as that. Then we have Ravens Steelers 34-17. That's a nice double up. I love a bit of that. But the 34-17, you've got Lamar playing pretty bloody well, but the game really, once Russ Wilson was like, hey, check this out. I'm going to go Superman full blown and jump over the top of everybody and like fumble it. And that was like the game over. And Derrick Henry ran right over the top of him. And I don't believe got a touchdown though. So screwed up my anytime touchdown multi. So
I watched this game very, very closely because in my dynasty league, I was starting both Lamar and Rusty. And up until the second half, I'm like, fuck, they're both going off here. And then Rusty had the it was actually a pretty good scramble before he got greedy, and instead of sliding, we just went, oh, I've got the end zone here, and then just got fucking laid out. And then within 2 plays, it was Lamar threw a ridiculous pick. Like, there was a receiver, and then 5 meters to the right was like 3 fucking Steelers, and the ball went straight to the Steelers. And you're like, oh, fuck, here we go. Steelers could come back into this. And literally, 2 plays later, pick 6 to Marlon Humphrey, who, meanwhile, while you're talking taunting penalties, as he's running into the end zone, turns around, offers the ball to the, like, dude, he's literally the definition of what the fuck that means. But yeah, from that point onwards, it was Steelers were cooked.
Not to go Outback, not to Outback Takehouse, but can we just get complete fucking rid of all taunting penalties?
It's fucking dumb. Yeah.
They're awesome. Like, everybody loves it. It's like, yeah, sucked in ticket. If you don't want me to, like, go, hey, do you want the ball back? Like,
yeah,
fucking come and get it. Like, don't give me the ball if you don't want me to go, I've got the ball again, fuck off. Like, what are we doing here? It's ridiculous. This has been a long-standing thing on NBA Australia where the refs have ruined the sense of competitiveness in a bunch of these games, right? By going, double tech for you, you hung too long on the rim because I'm off a sick dunk. Don't look at him that way. That's a tech foul. Like, I fucking hate that shit.
Yeah.
And like, Marlon Humphrey was probably one of the very most egregious examples.
Yeah.
Like Benito jumping into the end zone and grabbing his nuts. That's just awesome. But
it's also like the Tyreek Hill as he's running into the end zone, turn around, the 2 fingers. I'm like, that's cool. That's his thing, right? But also the CJGJ one, I just refer back to that one, where he's like, you don't actually see it. Like, if he got fucking sent off, he got sent off. We should have won the fucking game. But, like, he makes a comment to someone, gets his helmet whacked off, that's a little bit inappropriate, smashed off, and then but he gets it, and then the second taunting, and then they asked about that in an interview, and they were like, oh, well, there's a bit of conversation backwards and forwards, and then a bit of shoving. Like, so hang on, the only guy you gave the penalty to was the guy who already had a sportsman, but for talking? Like, come on, guys, this is a contact sport. What the fuck are we doing?
I don't know if we should be sending people off for hurting other people's feelings.
Yeah.
You know? He said something really mean to me, sir. Shut up, nerd.
Yeah. Anyway, let's keep going into this. The Steelers looked fucking I'm not saying they were outpowered, but all of a sudden this is fucking neck and neck and going to go down to it. It's going to be a fucking great rush home.
That's it. When we talk about the playoff setting in a second, that's a tough one because they're both now 10-5.
Yeah.
What else we got? Then we moved to the Monday slate. We had Giants Atlanta. This was a smashing 34-7. Penix just makes them look good. He can move, he can do stuff, but also Bijan Robinson just went, boys, check this out. Bang, just ran right over the top of the Giants. They're horrible. They also had 2 pick sixes. Like, you had Matty Judon just going, this is awesome. Are we good now? And so, boom, they're on top of the NFC South again. Because we'll get to Tampa Bay, but they blew a really good.
The memes of Penix's welcome to the NFL moment of his first interception, because it was like, here's where you made the mistake. You thought that Kyle Pitts had some hands, and that interception, you were just like, you poor bastard. That's going down against Michael Penix, but it literally perfect. Pitts' hands, like near the end zone. Straight through them, bounce off, pops up into the Giants defenders.
Not even straight through. He catches it, but then sort of bobbles
pops up. Yeah,
it almost. It's almost like he's doing a basketball pass to the defender.
Yep.
Did Pitts have like a bet on like an interception for the other team for this game? Like, it was unbelievable. But this is another Outback Takehouse vibe where it's like, I don't think like any sort of bobbled interception, like where you've tapped it, if the receiver has touched it, I don't think that should go down as an interception for the QB.
See, I've got an argument against this because I have this one. There's a guy, Dave, who used to be in our fantasy league, is a 49ers fan, so I can't give him too much shit because it's a horrible year. But every time I see him at the pub and we whinge about football rules, and he always says, that shouldn't go down for the quarterback. And I say, counterpoint, the quarterback gets the yards when they throw 2 yards to Alvin Kamara and he takes it 100 yards down the field. That's on the court. So, swings and roundabouts. You get penalized, but you also get a bit of fucking luck.
I'm actually fine with that. I think all the QB yards should be air yards. Like, as soon as they kick and they're running, that's on like everybody else. It's not the QB's yards. Simply.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's move on.
Killed the Giants. Chicago got straight killed by Detroit 34-17 to the point where, as I pointed out at the start, Jared Goff and Jimmy Gibbs are running trick plays this is the absolute. This is like, so teabagging in a computer game.
Yeah.
Where it's like they have like the ba. You're just spamming the teabag on someone you shot or something in like, some sort of video game. I'm not a gamer. But teabagging a motherfucker, this is what this was, but in NFL terms, right? This is like, we're going to kick your ass so badly. We don't even need to run this trick play, but we're gonna. Check this out. It's just Ben Johnson throwing his schlong on the table going, check that out, boys. How much do you want to pay me to be your coach this year? Yeah, better be a bit more now.
Yeah. They literally had no defense to play, the Lions, and then it didn't fucking matter. Like, I'm just trying to watch. I'm watching the Eagles game, and then red zone kicking in, and it's just like I felt like fucking 3 minutes, it was 13-0 up in the first quarter. It's like, we don't need a defense when they can't run on us because they've got to literally throw the ball for the next 3 quarters.
Amazing. Got 336 and 3 touchdowns. Gibbs over 100 and a touchdown, and they were awesome. Like, even Jameson Williams got in on it too. He was really good, and they fucking killed him. Like, the thing is, people go, "Oh, see, the Lions can win outdoors." I'm like, yeah, but it was against Chicago. Like, that's like a half outdoor win.
And strangely enough, ever since Eberflus has got fired, they've just had their ass handed to them week after week after week. But Caleb put up some decent, rookie, like 330 yards, 2 TDs, another 34 on the ground. Like, I think they're in safe hands. There's no problem there.
Like these moments where that was really good.
Yeah.
And other moments like, what the fuck are you doing? Some weird IQ moments where he's like, scramble. Oh, God, I'm 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage and I'm getting sacked again.
Keenan Allen, 140 yards and 1 touchdown, almost made it seem like I had a chance in fantasy this week.
Great touchdown. That was a really good touchdown as well. And then for a minute there, you felt like they might be back in this game, and then they scored 3 points like the rest of the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Browns-Bengals. Speaking of a weird game, 24-6. This was weirdly way fucking closer than that. Right? Because I think the Browns had a touchdown called back when it was still only 20, I think it was 20, maybe 17-6, right? And they have so it would have made it probably, 17-14. You're like, oh, God. And as someone who had bet heavily on the Bengals, I'm like, oh, God, there goes Christmas. But it gets called back, and you're like, sucked in Browns. It's the classic. And then the Bengals get the Jamar Chase touchdown at the end as a bit of insurance. And you're like, it was never in doubt. It was very much in doubt. And DTR is bad.
Yep.
And like, but Joe Burrow did this cool pass. And you're like, yeah, but the Bengals were still shit. Let's be honest. But amazingly, they're 7-8. They're still going to a hint of a chance.
There's I was about to say that before. There's a world now with Denver losing, that if they lose out and they're playing, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but they're playing decent teams moving up, and have they got KC on moving it up? Oh no, they got Cincy this week. So Cincy win this, and then all of a sudden, week 18 matters playing for a wildcard spot.
Chaos. Right? Love that. Yeah. Anyway, Browns bad. Bengals pretty bad, but not as bad. Yeah. Tennessee Indy, speaking of fucking bad. 38-30, but this was 38-7. And Indy let them all the way back. It was like 15 points in the fourth quarter, I think, from the Titans. You're like, oh, Jesus. And then Mason Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, gives them up that final interception, which is just the nail. But if you're looking at this as an Indy fan, you're like, oh, are you fucking seriously? What are we doing? Like, Jonathan Taylor, 3 touchdowns. They had the Anthony Richardson one that got called back. Talk about swings and roundabouts for fantasy. Well, Anthony Richardson runs one in. No, his elbow is down. And, literally, the ball is centimeter away from the line. You're like, I don't know if you can overturn that. They're like, no, we overturn it. It's at the half-yard line. I'm like, how do we lose 50 centimeters on this spot? What is happening here? And then Jonathan Taylor just walks it in. You're like, good touchdown. That's a tough one for fantasy owners. But outside of that, who cares? This game's between 2 really bad teams. And I just
really bad organizations. Yeah.
The Colts, boo, Titans, whatever. Calvin Ridley got going early, and then it was just like boom over the top of him. Indy fucking. Rams Jets. This game was weird. 19-9. The Rams win it. Was it the Jets didn't punt all game, and they're the first team to ever do that and score less than 10 points. So they had these massive, massive, massive drives that take fucking forever. I think the first one was like a 90-yard drive or something, 99-yard drive. They score a field goal, I think it was, and you're like, oh, here we go. And they do it again. And you're like, oh, God, I really wish I hadn't put the Rams into the old multi here. And then they were fine. They sort of just woke up, got Puka Nacua going a little bit. Kyron Williams ran in that first touchdown. So it was like, I don't know, 7-6, I think, was it 9-6 for a bunch of this game.
Yep.
And it just stopped dead. And it just like, this game was like over within like 2.5 hours. Like, it was just like, they just kept driving the Jets. And then Aaron Rodgers just gave the ball up a couple of times, took a couple of bullshit dumb sacks. They couldn't score in the red zone and the game was over.
Yeah.
The Rams won it.
It was weird to see, like, Stafford, the moment he got all his weapons back, it was just kind of, oh, this team's serious again. And you're like, Stafford's been a stats machine, and he only ended up with 110 yards in this. Nakua is the highest receiver with 50, and you're like, sure.
Yeah, okay. Williams 122 on the ground, though, and that's kind of how they just did it. They ground him out. Mm-hmm. You go, well, Rodgers had like 256 yards and like no interceptions. He was still shit. Like, this is like one of those games you're like, if you watch it, you're like, oh, 28-42. That's not bad. It's like, but the drives just kept going and going and going and ending up in nothing. So it was gross. It was weird. And yeah, so they scored a touchdown on that first play, missed the the extra point, and you're like, oh, that's probably not great for them overall. And it turns out it wasn't. So,
and now all of a sudden the Rams are in charge of that division,
owning the division. It's unbelievable. Philly 33, Washington 36.
What a weird fucking game, Jim.
It
was five turnovers. So weird.
5 turnovers for the commies, and they win. That's just unbelievable.
It was absolutely insane. So starts the game. Nice stop on defense, and then Eagles go down, punch it in. Everything's on target. Move down again. Jalen Hurts scrambles, goes down, hits his head. They go, oh, we're just going to take you off for just a little bit. I'm like, what the fuck's Kenny Pickett doing in there? It's all right. Move down a little bit. Touchdown to AJ. I'm like, okay, 14 zip. Everything's, happy days. And then he doesn't come back, and you just see Hurts. He's like still on the sidelines. He's gone in the blue tent. He's given a thumbs up to the fucking to the refs. And next minute they're saying he's gone down and all of a sudden he's not coming back out. And then it's on Kenny Pickett. They Washington go down, score. We get the next drive, and Saquon busts out a 68-yard touchdown. You're like, fucking okay, here we go. And then it all changed. It was like they didn't have a game plan about how everything was around Hurts and that double-headed run game. And then when he wasn't there, the commies just teed in on Saquon. That's all they did. They teed in on Saquon, and he couldn't run for the rest of the game. The defense stood up, as you mentioned, like 5 turnovers. There was, 2 fumbles by Robinson Jr., a couple of picks. But Jalen Daniels just played off his fucking head. Right, there was some really weird things, like there was some very strange penalties. There was for both teams. There was like Jalen Carter got barely touched Daniels roughing the passer. There was a couple of things missed, as we mentioned. The CJGJ with taunting ejection was really fucking weird. But really, the commies fucking earned it. What do you want? They'll go down there, another missed 50-yard plus from Jelliot, and they fucking won the game.
The end of this was amazing, right? Because you had the interception from Jaden Daniels down 30-28.
Yeah.
And your Eagles get back up, and they go, all right, what we'll do is we'll kick the field goal. And I think that's the right decision because you're only up 2. So we want to make it so that a field goal doesn't beat us.
Yeah.
And you're up 5, and I'm sort of going, oh, God, the line was like, what? Philly 3.5. Gaz is in this pick. I've gone the commies. Let's go. And then that drive for the touchdown after that by Daniels was absolutely fucking absurd. It was so good.
Yeah.
Just sort of the control that they had against this Eagles defense was just really, really impressive.
It was bizarre. And there was even some other weird things that you just don't expect. Like there was a drive there where I think after halftime, Kenny Pickett had no yards, and like AJ had no yards, but we had like 60 something yards worth of pass interference calls on Lattimore for against AJ. And then there was a a drive was supposed to be shut down even for us, but then Saquon had his face mask ripped, so that keeps things going. It was just really weird all the way around. We're like, all right, they've had a stop. Oh no, there's a penalty. Oh, and it happened both ways. There was 3 drops from players that, like, if you thought that they were third, fourth, fifth string wide receivers, you'd forgive it. AJ had one that he would secure 99 out of 100 times. Saquon on like a wheel route had one that he dropped. And then the one that you referenced before, Smitty is like the safest hands in the team. And on 4th and 5 or 3rd and 5, that would have salted the game away. It would have been the first down, and then it would have been,
game's over.
Exactly like week 2 against the Falcons, where Saquon dropped that. So, everyone's kicking around going, oh, the fucking Eagles would have been 14-1 if it wasn't for 2 drops. I'm like, yeah, but we also had lucky things that led to fucking wins. So calm the fuck down. But it was a cracking game. It's what you want for these 2 guys at the top of the division, still division out to play. Things happen for both sides and you can't predict it. And now this division's still alive, right?
And the crowd touchdown at the end was absolutely immense. I love it.
100%. It was there was fucking 2 Eagles defenders on each side. And it was Jamison Crowder, right?
Yep.
Just fucking somehow made them Daniel threw him open, and it was great. So you can't discount the guy who gets who puts up 5 touchdowns himself, overcoming 5 turnovers. Like, that's fucking great.
What a game. And also, what a performance by me, really, putting the moxie on your Eagles going, nah,
you fucking send me a message. This for everyone's fucking is sending me a message going, this game's great. And I'm like, I fucking hate it. And then we get down into that, like, to kick the field goal. And she's like, oh, I reckon you've got it here. And I'm like, I'm not saying a fucking word. And then they come over the top of us.
That saved me a beer. Arizona 30, Carolina 36 in overtime. That was the end of the Cardinals' playoff chances. Boom. This was as I mentioned, like the 2 little fellas, Bryce Young versus Kyler Murray.
First game of starting quarterbacks under 5'10"?
10, yeah. Bryce Young was impressive. He was getting fucking cleaned up a couple of times and then just bouncing back up, big smile on his face. I'm like, this is great. Bryce Young, he's got a bit of gumption. Who doesn't love a bit of gumption? Chuba goes bang with a couple of big runs in the overtime, and like Kyler Murray had like a really bad sack, and like this was it. Yep. It feels like a little microcosm of the Cardinals season, this one, doesn't it? It's like, oh, looks good. Oh, that was bad. Looks good. Oh, that was bad. James Carden goes off with an injury, and they just couldn't sort of put it all together. It does feel like this season, though, for the Cardinals is like, all right, so we aren't shit. So what do we do to be really good next year? And I feel like next year is the good Cardinals year, right?
Yep. Yeah. I'm not going to, I'll paraphrase, Trey McBride here, but he basically said, we were fucking shit after that game. And I'll try to find the not safe for work version of what he said, but effectively that was it. It was we were fucking shit, and now we're out of the now we're eliminated. What do you want me to fucking say?
Yep. Minnesota, Seattle.
We're sorry as fuck is the exact quote.
Vikings 27, Seahawks 24. Awesome game. So it was pretty cool because we got like a Philly Washington game that was sick. Arizona Carolina just keeps going because it goes to overtime, and Minnesota Seattle happens at the same time. It's the first of the the early Arvo sort of slate, and it was very, very, very fun.
Yeah,
and then it got way more fun later on because it was just back and forth down the stretch. Darnold finally got the face mask call that saved their final drive. Jefferson's catch between 2 defenders was absolutely fucking off its head. Great pass by Darnold. And then you had the game-ending interception from Geno. But the way that they went back and forth, it was like, this is just all-time classic shit. And it was really, 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 really fun. You sort of got the best of both teams, it felt like, right, at different times. And this has been the problem with the Seahawks all year. They just don't win at home. They've been kind of shit. And you're like, bro, but the 12th man, bro. It's like, yeah, 12th man doesn't really help if your team is actually just a little bit shit.
Yeah.
Here we are. So they're now 3-6 at home this year. That's fucking nuts.
They're eliminated. They're eliminated now.
I believe they're still in it because they're in the NFC West, which is all fucky.
Yeah, okay. But Minnesota just have to
Technical term,
technical term.
fucky.
Yeah. And Minnesota has to it's on them now. They have to effectively win out and rely on some help to either, and they got Packers fair square up their ass.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's anyway, spicy.
There's, I believe, before today's game, 18% chance of the Seahawks still making the playoffs.
There you go.
18.
There you go.
New England 21, Buffalo 24.
Oh, Jim.
Hey, all I want is signs, Gaz. I don't want wins. I want signs. Because
it started out really fucking well, Jim.
You know what it started off as though? Fucking shit, because the fucking stupid Bills were wearing Pats uniforms.
Yeah, that confused the fuck out because I was only jumping backwards and forwards, and I'm like, I kept losing who was who.
It was stupid because what's the old adage? Like, flattery is the most sincere. Imitation
is the sincerest form of flattery. Yeah.
And the Bills, I get it. They hate us because they ain't us. You know, we've owned them for years and years and years and years. Now they're the good team, we're the shit team. That's fine, but don't fucking dress up like us, you losers. But still, 14-0, we're smashing it. Drake May looks really good, and we have the massive Ramondre Stevenson fumble. Like, that's better. Keep fucking turning the ball over. Drake May was really good at times. And all I want, as I said, is flashes of like, yes, he is the fucking dude. Let's roll with this. And like, you and I have watched a lot of football in our lives. Like, I feel like you have like a baseline capability of going, if a QB can do that, that's probably a good QB. If there's a QB that shows like one or two times they can do that, but the rest of the time they're a bit shit, you're like, oh, that's probably not a great idea for, their long-term prospects as a starting QB. I'm looking at you, Mac Jones.
Yep.
Whereas Drake May has like these things where you're like, fucking hell, that was unreal. Mac Jones would have like one or two things you're like, oh, good on you, fella. Difference, like a really, really big difference. And Drake May is just fucking good. So that's all I wanted. And like Josh Allen was very, very solid down the stretch. They finally sort of woke up and you turn around, they're back up 10. We got the late touchdown, whatever. But good loss. Happy with that. But really, Buffalo, grow up. Don't dress like the fucking heroes.
Grow up.
Like, it's fine for the Squid to dress up like fucking Spider-Man and shit, right? Like Squid, he'll be like, I fucking love dressing up. He's got like a, what has he got? Spider-Man. He's got a Flash costume. He's got a sick Hulk one. He's happy. Like, he can dress up as his heroes. You're fucking grown men. Don't dress up like the Pats, you fucking losers. But
Counterpoint. What if they were doing it ironically, like when Jez rocked up to the Super Bowl party in a Patriots jersey? What if it was done like by poking fun?
That's not bad. I'll pay that. Mac Jones, Jacksonville 14, Vegas 19. Yeah, Mac Jones, that was... he did have a sick one. He found a wide open Brian Thomas Jr. for the touchdown that actually made this game close again. I think it was like 16-14. And if you hadn't have found Brian Thomas Jr. on that pass where he had half the fucking field to himself and like literally just walked the rest of the way into the end zone, you could probably fire Mac Jones into the sun. But he found him. That was good. But then they just couldn't stop the Raiders late. Brock Bowers is fucking incredible. So he's about to break Mike Ditka's rookie tight end record.
Right. Yes. Correct. Yeah, 100%. Glad I took him with my first round pick. I got told that tight ends are not worth a first round pick. Well, guess what? When I got a 1,000-yard rookie setting records, you're just like, yeah, you know what? He's worth more than half the fucking wide receiver. And imagine once they actually get him a quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Just imagine. I mean, he's got 1,067 yards, so he needs 10 more yards to break the record. The Dick set like fucking. I think it's like 60 years ago that Ditka did this as well. And you're like, Jesus, that's a long time ago. And you're like, well, I guess Ditka is quite old. He coached for a million fucking years as well. Was in commentary for a million years and is old as fuck. So, love Ditka. But Raiders, Jags, who fucking cares? Good job, Raiders. I loved it personally because actually I was going to make that point earlier. Great loss by the Pats because we currently, I think, have the 2 pick.
Yeah. Because the Giants are stoked now. Like, of all the years to get the top pick, when you, as you mentioned earlier, none of the quarterbacks are guaranteed. So you're like, this is a fucking shit year to have the number 1 overall pick.
Because the Jags are losing. I mean, but more importantly, because Vegas win this as well, that gives them another win. So it puts them 3-12 along with the Pats, the Jags, the Titans, the Browns, and obviously so the Raiders. So there's 5 teams there, but the Pats have, I think, the strength of schedule sort of Caduva, where it's like the ranking system for it, has the Pats in number 2. So that's really good. Happy days.
Yeah, funny thing on the. I know you're going to talk about seedings, but there was, I think it was Adam Schefter came out this week and was like on one of his broadcast things and said, basically the Eagles should do the funniest thing ever, and that is try and knock off the Cowboys this week, and then literally sit everyone week 18 against the Giants, forcing them to win. And because there's so many 3-win teams, it would drop them from the number 1 pick down to like the 7th. So it's just like deliberately throw the game and then just fuck the Giants.
That's good.
So, yeah.
Speaking of fucking, the Dolphins just fucked the Niners season, but I mean, really, injuries did that. 29-17. The tipping point for the Niners happened a couple of weeks ago. I mean, the bounce back win against the Bears, whatever. But
yeah, I think it had already come out that they'd been eliminated before this game started. So
they basically sort of just went, we're fine. And Miami didn't really get too much going. It was like a lot of Jason Myers. It was like field goal after field goal after. I think he kicked 5, I want to say.
Yeah.
And then Achane was like the rest.
Achane, like nearly 200, 190 yards.
Yeah, because I don't think Waddle played. Hill just kept fucking dropping shit. And the Niners couldn't. Like, I think Purdy had a really, really good game, but it just wasn't enough. And they beat him 29-17.
Well, the funny thing is, the talk in the last few weeks around the Niners, as well as all the fucking injuries, has been the fact that Brock Purdy's in for a pretty decent payday, and he's shown this year with like the injuries around him that like he's a serviceable and manageable quarterback. But is this going to be a Dak?
Yeah,
a Dak situation where when he's not surrounded by the weapons, he can't take over a game himself. So
and I think that's the biggest sort of question you have with QBs. Like, can they put you over the top, or are they helping you get to sort of the top, and that's their level? It's basically the Dak or the Kirk Cousins corollary.
Yeah. But unfortunately, when it comes to the Niners, they've got Ayuk and Kittle and all these guys, CMC and Debo that they're paying that it can't keep going, and you end up in the cap hell, which is where Cowboys are now. They're fucked.
Yeah, because I mean, this is like the thing that Brady did for years and years and years, taking a bit of a haircut. Yeah, it's pretty handy when you got a billionaire wife, but the setup there is just like cool. If you're not paying your QB the absolute top dollar, then it gives you a huge advantage, and that's kind of what the Niners sort of need.
Yeah, or you got to hit on rookies consistently.
Yep. And I mean, they have hit on Purdy for the last couple of years. They've been paying fucking nothing, and that's what's allowed them to pay everybody else. But
100%.
Well, anyway, Tampa Bay 24, Dallas 26. This game was sick and off its head. Chaos. Like, Baker was pretty good, and then had sort of like a couple of weird, funky moments. Cooper Rush is good.
Fuck, he's. I'm just trying to pinpoint it now, but his starting record is fucking wild, right? Because he's only lost like 4. I want to say 4 games, as starting QB, and he's taken over when the defense was decimated, and that's partially why they were losing under Dak. But he's just come in and he's serviceable, right? So you got to think that he could get picked up by, I don't know, they're going to have to pay him because, as you mentioned, there's some really shit fucking starting quarterbacks floating around this league. And at least can show that if he's got a defense, he can be serviceable as a game manager.
But so this game, like, I mean, it came down to Dallas looked awesome, and they were, running the ball basically for the Zeke touchdown. Outside of that, it's like, all right, CD Lamb, off you go. Brandon Cooks had his longest reception of the year, which is like pretty weird. And you're like, okay, that's sure.
There you go. Cooper Rush's career starting record is 9-4 for the Cowboys.
What a legend.
Yeah.
Legend Cooper Rush. But it didn't feel like they could sort of get too much else going. And then the Bucs got right back in there to the point where we're getting right down to the end. You're like, oh, geez. And they had the fumble and the game was all over. Anyway,
which in and of itself was a sick Baker Mayfield play. Like scrambling around, got dudes hanging off him, somehow gets the ball to White, who turns around, tries to make it up the field. Laurent Bland just like strips the ball, recovers it. All of Atlanta is like, hey! Yay! We're still alive.
So chaos. Because like the touchdown before that, where they sort of just fucking fanged up the field to get themselves back in with a chance,
Mm.
and then Dallas have the 3 and out. And you're like, oh god, Tampa Bay going to do this, and they were right there, and then they didn't because of the Baker superhuman effort, and then they fucked it up. I'll talk about that again later. But awesome sort of game. Like Dallas somehow like 7-8, and
eliminated. Fucking fantastic.
out of the playoff contention, and have probably saved Mike McCarthy's job just to keep up this entire mediocrity thing going for a bunch more years. So great job by the Cowboys.
And their draft pick is currently 15. Looking at Tankathon.
All right, and then the final game today is New Orleans Green Bay. That's happening quite literally right now. So I reckon Green Bay will do them. Let's do some Yenahas. Before we do that, should we do the playoff seedings check?
Yeah.
All right. So in terms of your actual NFL, so if we start in the AFC, most of this is sort of locked away.
Yep.
As mentioned, I think so you got the Broncos and the Chargers. So Broncos is 7, Chargers at 6. They're both 9 and 6. I think it would take both of them losing out, I think, for the Colts to maybe jump into there. So bit of a tough one. I don't think it's probably going to happen. Then you've got Baltimore currently at 5, at 10 and 5. With the Steelers 10 and 5 as well, the 3 spot. In between that, obviously, is the Texans at 4 on top of the AFC South, and the Bills 12 and 3, and the Kansas City Chiefs 14 and 1. So Buffalo still have a chance at getting the 1 seed if KC drop anything, obviously, and Buffalo win out. Oh wait, no, KC would have to drop both of these, wouldn't they? And then Buffalo win. Yeah, KC drop both. Buffalo win out. Buffalo have the head-to-head, so I think that'd sort of sneak them into the 1, but that's basically what the way. So KC, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Houston at the moment, the top 4. Baltimore in the 5, Chargers, Broncos, and then behind that, you've still got alive the Colts and the Dolphins, and the Bengals. What did I say? No, Seahawks at 18%. Bengals probably lower than that, I think.
Yeah, where it gets spicy this week, though, is when you're looking out at those standings, is even just the start is KC play Pittsburgh. And then Baltimore play Houston. So if Houston's got is we're already on shaky ground, Baltimore could easily take that. And then KC, Pittsburgh's been shaky the last 2 weeks. They've dropped the last 2 in a row. So if that comes in, all of a sudden Baltimore's in a good spot. You don't want to be facing Baltimore at home. That's coming right down to it.
Houston keeps
and Denver Cincy too.
Houston keeps the 4 seed anyway because they're the division winner. But
of course, yeah.
But Baltimore, if they beat them and Pittsburgh pop the loss, then boom, you've got the Ravens on top of the AFC North, and you're feeling good. For the NFC at the top, let's start there. We'll go to Detroit, 13 and 2, feeling pretty good. But the problem is, in the 5 seed, on Minnesota Vikings at 13 and 2 as well. So the Lions have to keep, and I believe they play each other in Week 18.
Correct, but the problem is coming down to this week. So Minnesota, I've spent a lot of time on this bloody to see what's going to go on here with this the NFC. Green Bay, Minnesota this week. So Green Bay obviously hot on their heels. You assume that they're going to win today. Going to be hot on their heels, and the Lions play a game that they should.
They're playing the Niners, I think this week, right?
Niners, yeah, there you go. So you assume that they're going to win that, which means that it has to come down to that very last week. It's the pressure's on Minnesota to really win out. Lions, if they win 1 game. So basically, all teams have to lose out and Eagles win for the NFC East to take the 1 seed. Too many things need to work in that favor. Yeah. So you assume like it's like the highest probability is the Lions will win 1 of the next 2 and they're going to take the number 1 seed. Where it gets spicy is around that where Minnesota and Green Bay are gonna finish. And then obviously you've got the wild cards on the with the Eagles and the division winner in the East. So technically, if DC win out and Eagles lose out, well then they'll take it based on some I think it's a division record. But the Eagles play Cowboys and Giants, so you'd hope that Jalen Hurts comes back this week, and even if we drop it against the Cowboys because maybe he's in concussion protocol. You'd like to hope that if we didn't lose 3 division matchups on the way out the door, then we don't deserve to win the fucking division anyway.
We might not see Gaz at the Super Bowl party. I'm just saying.
Nah, I'll be there. Fucking, I'll just be not make it till half. Don't need to make it till halftime. But then it gets super spicy, obviously, at the end because you've got obviously Minnesota's locked up at least a wild card. Falcons and Rams at the moment in division leads, but none of that's safe.
Yeah,
right. So that's where it gets spicy.
So 1 is Detroit, 2 is Philly, 3 is the Rams. They're 9-6. They're ahead of the Seahawks, are 8-7 in the West. So the Cards and the Niners have been eliminated. So that's not completely locked away. And then you've got the Falcons at 8-7, tied with the Bucks. But I mean, the Falcons now have a new QB, and the Bucks completely screwing their own chances here. So Vikings at 5, Packers at 6, and Commies at 7. So the Bucks and the Seahawks are at 8 and 9. Still with a chance-ish. Bucks obviously a much better one than probably Seattle, where they need the Rams to sort of lose these games. But I don't know. Like, the Rams feel kind of dangerous still, which is pretty cool. But they have the Cards this week, then the Seahawks. And obviously that Seahawks-Rams game in Week 18 could help decide the thing, which is kind of...
I mean, well, for the South, I think what works as we know, we've said for weeks that the Falcons swept the Bucks, so they need to be that game ahead. Tampa play Carolina this week, no longer as much of an easy beat, but if they can knock over that, well, I mean, Atlanta play Washington in Washington, so you'd like to think that's all of a sudden the Bucks could be 1 game up, and then that Week 18 slate just becomes even more spicy, where Atlanta then go play Carolina, right? So, and who do
the Saints? So
Bucks play the Saints. So there you go. It could be Cool. Here we go.
All right. Well, with this in mind, with all that seedings in mind, so I wrote the article this week, well, last week, I guess, going into this weekend. The top 5 contenders: KC, Buffalo, Philly, Minnesota, Detroit. I think in terms of, they wouldn't have the prices. I think those were the prices at the start of the week. I don't know if Minnesota are actually there, but I mean, by record, it's those 5 teams.
Yeah.
I feel like Green Bay or Baltimore might have actually been in the top 5. But outside of those top 5, can anyone outside of those top 5 win the Soupy? Yeah, nah.
Look, Green Bay have been improving kind of week on week. They're not a team that you'd kind of want to run into as a wild card coming in with nothing to play. Cold weather team, they're not going to be affected by that. And Baltimore, any given fucking Sunday, right? If they stay close enough at halftime in a physical game, and then all of a sudden let Desert Henry loose to just wear teams down as he fucking did, that the secondary is banged up, or is not great, but they just need to do enough. So Baltimore could literally take anyone down. Pittsburgh have been a bit, how you going the last couple of weeks. They have been without Pickens, and Watt is clearly a little bit hobbled. But Pittsburgh, I don't think are much of a threat, and I don't really think too much of the Rams based on what they showed. They won this week, but it wasn't fucking great.
Yeah.
But Green Bay and Baltimore would you'd think that they would be the outsiders.
If Baltimore end up with a 3 seed and end up winning the division, so on they'd probably face as a 3 seed, probably the Chargers, the Broncos, whoever sort of flushes out there. Kind of both tricky matchups, I reckon, for Baltimore, but you'd feel like they probably should win. But the cool thing is, I guess they're then on the opposite side of the bracket from KC if they're in the 2-3 spot. They'd have to play Buffalo first, then probably KC, depending on how that washes out too. Interesting. And whereas Green Bay and the Rams, I feel like Green Bay would be feeling pretty good if it's 3-6 at the moment, would be Rams, Green Bay. And you're like, oh, shit, Green Bay could easily win that. And then suddenly they're up against the Eagles in week 2. And you're like, oh, yes, mate. And I know you'd be shitting bricks going, oh, are you fucking serious? But because it's at the link, I think you'd feel okay. So I don't know. I feel like Buffalo is still my favorite, just in my brain going, I think they could just, this year might be the one time they do it. I can't quite see Sam Darnold. Maybe Baltimore if they can pull it off, but Buffalo still strike me as the favorite in my brain.
It's going to be huge. Minnesota the next 2 weeks is going to show a lot about their playoff chances, because they've got to knock off 2 other playoff teams in their division, and obviously that's also the thing that's a little bit fucky. Not only are you playing teams but playing teams in playoffs that you've already it's very hard. What do they say? It's
Hard to
really
beat
hard.
3 times in a
That's it.
year, Gaz.
That's it. That's what I was gonna say. So yeah, it's fucking. It's an interesting year.
Speaking of which, do you
That's all
pay
I'll say
Sam Darnold? What do you reckon?
I don't know. Like, obviously, I'm not the hugest college guy in the world. So it's what have they got on JJ? Like, what are their thought process on JJ? They're gonna have to pay him. You think a lot, so you could keep him as an insurance policy while you work out what the fuck JJ is. Not rush him back. Give him that 1 year. You've clearly got a playoff roster. That's the hard thing, right? It's not like, oh, well, we're just keep a seat warmer for someone where we're trying to build a team around him. No, this is legit. Like, win now. You don't want to waste fucking the other JJ Jefferson's prime years. So kind of, I think I would.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like it's the known, right?
Yeah.
Well, Sam Darnold is the known now. Whereas JJ McCarthy is like the unknown known.
Yeah. Yep.
Especially coming off an ACL, which is like that sort of give it another year after that, and then we'll see what we've got. Then speaking of which, rookie QBs, Penix. Did this kind of all work out in the end after we sort of were like, dude, what are y'all doing? Like $90 million for Kirk Cousins after and you're drafting Penix. Like, what the fuck? It feels like the Falcons might have had buyer's remorse instantly once they got Kirk in the thing. They're like, oh, hang on a second. Oh, fuck. We're drafting a QB. And they did. And they look so much more lively, I think, is the big thing for me watching them the other day.
What could be amazing is they could go into the playoffs with a $90 million backup.
That's awesome.
That's pretty fucking chaotic. Look, if they make it through, well, then you'd go, yeah, it's worth it. You let Penix play into the season, get his feet under him, like not running to that rookie wall that he could be into now because he's still got. He hasn't been forced into games and rushed. But if they don't make it into the playoffs and the Bucs come over the top of them in the last 2 games, which is a distinct possibility, you'd go, that was money pissed against the wall, wasn't it?
He also played the Giants, so I feel like don't get too ahead of your skis kind of vibes, right?
Yeah.
All right, good bloke of the week. Who are we buying a Christmas beer? I don't know. Have you been over in the States when around that sort of Christmassy time there, Gaz, when they have all the sort of fancy different brews and you're like, this is a bit much.
Oh no, I've only ever been over. Well, yeah, no, craft beer wasn't a thing when I was over there in December, like December. That was way. I'm a fucking old Jim. Now I've only ever been over there during that fucking Halloween where it's pumpkin spiced fucking everything. Yeah, I haven't been over there in the December Christmas
and shit.
Yeah.
The Christmas ones, some of them are a little bit like, should I dig malt? Give us some malt. And you're like, yeah, all right, cool, fine. But we'll buy him a Christmas beer. Jonathan Taylor, that was insane. Again, everybody who just had him on their fantasy roster and they won a playoff round because of him, you owe him a beer. Simple as that.
Yep.
Achane was massive as well. If you had him, I think he had 191 yards, so you'd be fucking hectic.
Yep.
Talk about payoff, because he's sort of been up and down this year as well, fantasy-wise, and then just goes whoopang when you need him the most.
Yep.
Buy him a beer. Jared Goff, Ben Johnson, and Dan Campbell. Those dudes had so much fucking fun clowning the Chicago Bears. I loved it. The absolute teabag of just running that play, the stumble play, amazing. And Dan Campbell was stoked after. He's like, can't believe we did that. That was fucking sick. And that was great stuff from Ben Johnson and Jared Goff to cook it up. And Taylor Higbee came back from was it a knee injury? I think last year. Came back, his first catch of the season was a touchdown. And it was a fucking good one too. Diving into the end zone over a couple of dudes. He's like, don't give a fuck about my surgically repaired knee. Check this out. It's going to be sick. And it was. So that was pretty good. Basically, it helped, win them the game too. So I love that.
Yeah. I'll mention it. So Dan Quinn came the first, I don't know it was against us or it hurts. Their first, I'm trying to find it now, when their first 10-win season since, I can't find it. But he's the first ever commies coach to have a 10-win first year.
Nice. Well, it's their best record since 1991.
There you go. That's the number I was trying to find. Yep, 91. Yep.
I don't know, because not just as a contrarian play, because digging it up against you and shitting on the Eagles is pretty fun. But I fucking love this Commanders team. They're more importantly, I think I enjoy watching them a lot. There's just always something kind of cool happening because Jaden Daniels is so fucking electric. Like McLaurin's really good, Brian Robinson's really good. They're just like this really fun team, and it does sort of scream out like they're going to play an awesomely fun game and lose in the first round of the playoffs. But fucking that's
they're ahead of schedule, mate. They're ahead of schedule.
Love
Like
that.
I know they're a division rival, but they're probably my least hated, apart from the whole name and the whole like the ownership thing. Obviously, Dave Snyder was a fuckwit, but apart from that, you know, the same as the Lions, right? The fan base had just been through so much shit,
Yep.
you know, since the 2000s and stuff.
As much as I give shit to the Bills, like I still hate them less than the Jets and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Like the Pats just never beat the Dolphins in Miami. Fuck the
Yeah.
Dolphins, whatever.
Yep.
And then like just fuck the Jets completely. Whereas the Bills, you're like, we always just clown them and beat the shit out of them for quite literally like 2 decades.
Yep.
And that is talk about a fan base that I fucking love. Also has copped 4 straight Super Bowl losses at the start of the 90s and has not been back since, basically.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I feel you there. Old mate, no mates. First off, Rashad White. I mean, Baker dragging it, fucking 2 defenders, basically getting the pass to you, and then you fucking fumble it. That is a tough back on the bus.
Yep.
Going on, Rashad? Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, I'm really glad I did all that. Fuck me.
Particularly if that's the game. If they don't get over those 2 division playoffs, then that's the season, right?
And obviously, old mate, no mates, Aaron Rodgers. Just, I love it. Oh, geez, it'd be pretty tough if I get waived by a teenager. Because the fun story popped off this week about, was it the Athletic article about the Jets and Woody Johnson.
How fucking dysfunctional they are. And
being one of these dipshit sons who are in like college and shit like that. And they like these are kids who are just getting fucking thrown on the bus in this article, which is pretty funny. It's like we need to like check their fucking Madden ratings and shit like this, and we're like just sort of talking shit left, right, and center. And you're like, yeah, they're fucking kids. Like, what do you expect? Yep. And then Aaron Rodgers dumping on kids again in a surprise twist. He's a fucking asshole, and here we are. So yeah,
and I feel so sorry for the 17, 18-year-olds who are getting advice because they're the son of a fucking billionaire who owns a football team. I think they'll be fine, right?
Gee, Luigi Mangione, let's fucking go!
Yeah. But Woody, like the comments in that article, if you haven't read it, like fucking definitely worth it. Have the dysfunction. Or was it Mike White? Was it that the
he's ragging on in front of him
through his helmet and he goes, "Yeah, you should throw that. You're fucking shit." Like, dude, Jesus, dude. Like, fuck. But I haven't been able to bring myself to watch the Rodgers Netflix thing. I'm waiting for this Christmas period where, you know, haven't had a lovely day. I've eaten too much. I've punched a few too many tins, Jim. And I'm just going to sit on the couch after Cash and Oshie go to bed. And I'm just going to...
Just hungry up your blood.
It'll be fucking great about how fucked it is.
I'm not going to do that to myself. I can't do myself. That's just sadomasochism, just watching fucking 4 episodes or whatever it is for him.
Yeah.
But I love that. Like, he's like, so he spends all of last week picking fights with other ESPN talking heads as well, right? Like, was it Ryan Clark that he's going back and forth with and all this? He does this stupid fucking vax status thing. Is like, if you're making jokes about vaccination status in 2024, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
First. B, you're not fucking like, that's like the lowest form of comedy. Like, who's laughing at that? Oh, yeah, Aaron Rodgers got him with the vax status. Like, the dumbest fucking people in the world think that's fucking funny. Great job, Aaron Rodgers. And then comes out and go, yeah, it'd be pretty tough to get waived by a teenager. I don't think so. I think it'd be the fucking funniest thing in the world if that happens now. So the thing is, he has this week where he's going back and forth, talking all this shit. You can't do that and then just like kind of be kind of crap. So
yeah,
they got turned over on downs 3 different times. They got, you know, a fumble forced on them. Jets were 38% on 3rd downs in that game, 2 of 5 on 4th downs, and 1 of 3 in the red zone. 0 for 1 and goal to go.
That's a bit shit.
You're just shit. Shush, dickhead. No one fucking cares, right? And here we are. But Outback Takehouse, it's Christmas at Outback. You know what that means? Oh, yeah. Slow roasted wallaby. We hit one on the way here, chucked her out in the backyard over the bloody spit, turn her over, got the squids working either end of it, turn around. We don't have it automated. They're out there working hard for their Christmas lunch, and it can be your Christmas lunch too. Flame grilled wallaby, only at Outback. And today's flame grilled take is Brandon Aubrey should be the MVP. He's provided most of the fucking Cowboys offense this season. And failing that, bloody hell, just give it to Cooper Rush because the Cowboys are better with Cooper Rush. Only at Outback. Factually, they are.
Yeah.
So maybe. Flip side, what would the Cowboys' record be if they'd started with Cooper Rush this season, Gaz, rather than Dak Prescott?
Well, it'd be no worse. Because what? They were a two-win team when he took over? Something like that. So they wouldn't be any worse. But it's this off-season. There's been all these throwbacks in the media this week, and all of them, the talking heads, about just dragging up some Jerry's fucking interviews from the beginning of the season, saying the fan base doesn't appreciate the high quality of the team that we've put together, and that is confident in Mike McCarthy and Dak.
Awesome.
Now they've got to the point where what did I say earlier? According to Tankathon, they're like pick 15 or whatever it is. But you're like, all right, we've just paid Dak and now we're fucked. We need money and draft picks, and Micah, it's like the what do you call it? The Bugatti in the shed of the Diggs is gonna be gone. He's injured fucking again. Laurent Bland is fucking great, but once again, like that defense is in trouble. CD's shoulder's fucked and he's still playing through it, so he's going to risk long-term damage, but he's got no one else. You took till halfway through the season to realize that Dowdle should be your fucking starting running back. Like, your offensive line is aging and needs retooling. Like, there's so much to do, and they've done just enough that they might keep Mike McCarthy. And they're gonna blame, and they're just gonna blame, if Dak hadn't gone down, this is a playoff team. They're gonna justify it to themselves. So there's just gonna be another vicious cycle of mediocrity. And I'm here for it, Jim. I'm here for it.
I can barely tell. Love it. All right. Little Aussie Butler of the Week, the Aussie Spotlight. Speaking of preseason predictions, one of my favorite things to be tracking this season has been when Caleb Williams.
I knew you were going to say Caleb.
Was speaking to Tory Taylor. Aussie Tory Taylor had a sick punt this week as well. It was like, hey man, we won't need you that much this year. Just saying. Meanwhile, Caleb Williams has 3,271 passing yards. Tory Taylor has 3,330 punting yards. More punting yards than passing yards for the Chicago Bears. He was really good though. Obviously, what was it? Dicko last week had the Aussie kick that had everyone fucking flipping out, which is pretty fun. Fa'alele and Mailata doing pretty well. Matty Habel on the Saints playing right now. So good stuff there. All right. Aussie Battlers crushing it. I think we also had the Ohio State punter as well in the college football playoffs, which is pretty good. Always fun. Captain Fantasy, though, Gaz. So at the very top of the NFL Straya Legends League, of which I am not in the playoffs because... No,
me either. My team was fucking shithouse. Yep.
I feel like I finished 6th, and we only send the top 4 through to the playoffs, which we should probably fix for next year because it's fucking brutal. But yeah, the standings before going into this, I finished 7th. There we go, 8 and 7. Tough one, because I think on the last 2 weeks I played the top 2 seeds. And this week, we're getting a hell of a I don't know, I've lost my consolation bracket against All You Need Is Love anyway. But up the top, Taylor made for a 3-peat. Matty O getting his absolute head kicked in. Oh, good.
Second week in a row.
Up against the other Matt, which is Matty C, who's just ripped off like 171 points up against Matty O. And then Judo Chop Robinson doing a bit of a number on White Bronco in the Sky, which I believe Judo Chop Robinson is Jez.
Yep.
Todd is White Bronco in the Sky. So getting down to a pretty interesting final week, it looks like, for next week, where in the championship we'll have Ricky Williams Veggie Patch and White Bronco. Oh, no, Judo Chop Robinson. So Jez will actually probably step up and fight the good fight. But yeah, the 1 and 2 seeds just making through the finals. What the fuck do we play all this for?
Like, Matty, look, I made this in our little chat thing. I looked at after the morning slate this week, just before the 4:30 game started, and I've looked at it and I'm going, well, fucking Matty O's got this under control. Here we go. And then Ricky Williams Veggie Patch just double, like people who doubled their projected score, Jim. Jefferson was projected at 14.31. We had Achan, as you mentioned before, projected 15.28. You've got James Cook projected 13, got 26. Like, he's just got fucking... Oh, Sanders for Miami projected 7.8, comes away with 21. So all of a sudden, Matty O's been... Oh, yeah, I'm quite comfortable. Just got fucking smoked.
I've taken out the fucking woodshed.
Dude.
Absolutely.
Anyway, good times.
Great job by Jez as well. I think Jez with... he got the Tajay Spears, 20.1 points. You're like, oh, sure. But the 21 from Brandon Aubrey, great job by him. So that's going to be pretty fun. But our 1 and 2 seeds getting through the fantasy finals. There you go.
Yep.
Why would you bother? Right. Here we are, though. Week 17, only 2 more weeks remaining in the NFL regular season. And we start with the Christmas Day games, which are, of course, a big fuck you to the NBA, which is always good. But also, they start our Boxing Day. So week 17, NFL Straya picks. I did write down these the lines yesterday, so they might have shifted a little bit. So we have KC at Pittsburgh on Christmas Day, which is very fun. 5 a.m. start on Boxing Day for us Aussies. Bit of a tough one. Pittsburgh were 2.5 point underdogs at home. How do you feel about that, Gaz? You've gone KC.
I think so. What I've seen from Pittsburgh in the last 2 weeks, they've shown a little bit of vulnerability on defense, and we've seen KC of playing a little bit tighter over the last, as you mentioned. You know, they've got a double-headed running back room. That's what I'm trying to say. And spreading the ball around, getting it out to Worthy a little bit more. That offense has looked better than in the last couple of weeks than it has all season. And the defense had been carrying them through. So, two game slide for Pittsburgh. It is at home for them, but I'm going to go with KC.
I'm going to take Pittsburgh because it's, what's the old adage? It's Mike Tomlin at home as an underdog.
Yep.
So plus 2.5, they could easily lose that by 2, and I cover. So
yep.
All right. Baltimore go to Houston in the second game. So these are the 2 teams. Well, these are the 4 teams rather who have played 3 games in 11 days, I believe, because of the schedule. So a bit fucky, but don't like the Texans even at home. You feel like the Ravens offense should probably carve up this Houston D, even though the defense has been pretty good at getting the dudes. When they've got Lamar and Derrick Henry, I don't know if that really helps you too much.
And losing Tank Dell, obviously they've got to make some
adjustments. They got Deontay Johnson, Gas. They got Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, sure.
Good stuff. We're both going Baltimore. That is a 5.5 point line now to BT Dubs.
Yep.
Then we have, so that's our Thursday. We then have a Friday game as well. We've got Seattle at Chicago, which is just, to be honest, pretty gross. Seattle, 3.5 point favorites on the road. I don't really tend to like that too much because Seattle are very up and down, but Chicago have shown us absolutely nothing. So I think...
And they got nothing to play for. Seattle's at least got a 20% chance or whatever we said before.
Exactly. So 18% chance for the Seahawks. We're going Seahawks, both of us. We have the Chargers at the Patriots. It's a 4.5 point line now. I feel much better about taking the Chargers. Always a bit weird. Chargers outside, but you know the Jim Harbaugh teams are going to be pretty tough. We're both going the Chargers against the Pats.
Yep.
Pats might do similar as to what they did against Buffalo this week, where they sort of keep it close and then get the cheap touchdown late to make it a 3-point game. But I don't know. The Chargers, their defense is that much better than Buffalo that I don't know if the Pats will have too much of a chance against them. Then we have Denver at Cincy. What a fun game that is. That's a 3.5 point line for the Bengals at home. You've gone Denver, Gaz. I think I have to do the same. I don't think the Cincy offense it just looks so shitty against the Browns this week. And Denver's defense is a lot better, I think, than the Browns, despite Myles Garrett causing all sorts of havoc. But Denver. Let's do it.
Same. Look, it's spicy because, as we talked about before, there's still a world where Cincy can make it through, and it'd be at the cost of Denver. So they both got shit to play for here, but there's just a little bit more consistency through Denver, and that's.
I should point out as well, the Chargers, Pats, Denver, Cincy, and Arizona Rams games are on Sunday.
Oh.
Our time. So Saturday in the States. It's like an NFL Network 3-for, which is always fun.
weird.
Speaking of which, that's the second game. The third game, rather, on the Sunday. We have Cards at Rams. Rams are 5.5-point favorites. We're both going the Rams in that one because I just think they're better than Arizona, especially with that offense. Rams should be too good. Jets, Buffalo. Oh, geez. 9.5-point line for the Bill. Why is that so low? 9.5. Bill should kill the Jets. Ew. We're both going Buffalo. The Jets are horrible, Gaz. What are we doing?
They are horrible. They are very horrible.
That's egregious. Green Bay, Minnesota. The Vikings are 1.5-point favorites. You've gone Green Bay. Sight unseen because they're playing right now. I'm going to go the Vikings at home. I think they might have enough in them. I do like the Packers a lot, obviously. I've talked about them a lot this season, but I think Minnesota might just have enough on offense. Green Bay have these games where they sort of stall out a little bit. Minnesota, especially that defense getting after Jordan Love. I think the Vikings can pull this off as 1.5-point favorites at home.
Yeah, Minnesota's gone from a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about sneaky, but now as we started, that like the ones that no one was talking about. But as they've come closer and they've been part of that top three, all on the same record until this week, or at least for last week, it was like, oh, everyone's talking about Minnesota and Sam Darnold. But Green Bay has become the sneaky, right? That just that little bit of an outsider, and they've been improving week on week since Love came back. Yep. So I think that I like the outsider thing with Green Bay.
Saints hosting the Raiders. The Saints are playing right now. I'm probably going to go the Saints. I don't think the Raiders are any good, and I think the Saints aren't very good either. But I think they're better than the Raiders. So.
I've got it's coin flip for me. They're both shit, and I don't care for either of them. I won't be putting money on this game.
Giants hosting the Colts. That is a weird one. The Giants are 7.5-point underdogs at home. The Colts should beat them.
Yeah,
7.5 worries me, but the Giants got absolutely obliterated this week by Atlanta. So I think the Colts should have no problems there.
Yeah.
Carolina, we're both going the Colts. Carolina, Tampa Bay, that is a 7.5-point line for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A bit of a worry. I feel like Tampa Bay might do a number on Carolina. Carolina, big win. I feel like that's the last gasp of, hey, we're okay. And Tampa Bay, like, we're a professional football team that need to win this game. We're at home.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a smashing.
Yeah, I think go to Mike Evans early and often.
Tennessee, Jacksonville. Nobody needs to know anything about this game. I'm Titans. Screw it.
I've just gone Jacksonville literally because it's at home.
It's a 1/2-point line. So
fuck. Even the market doesn't care, Jim.
Like coin flip, boom. Miami, Cleveland. That's a weird one. The Browns are 6.5-point underdogs at home. I think Miami should probably beat them, but this is, I don't know. If Jaymz plays, it's the Browns. If he doesn't, I'm gonna have to go Miami. I don't like this.
We're told otherwise.
December Dolphins though, guys. At home. Oh no, I'm going Cleveland. That's funnier. If DTR is so bad though, I can't do it. Like
it's fucking funnier. It's great. We're getting to that. We're at that point of the season, right? Where it's like, all right.
I like that I've pulled back all the way within 3 beers of you for this entire season.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, fuck it, we're going Cleveland. So Dallas, Philly is another weird one.
What's the line?
Doesn't appear to be there. Let's check another one. Oh no, there it is. 9.5 for the Eagles over the Cowboys. I might have to go Dallas.
I'm thinking Dallas too.
That is a big line for
that is a fucking big line. Look, I think Hurts was annoyed. He wanted to go back in. He thinks he's fine. He doesn't think he'll be in the protocol and be out this week, but you never fucking know. It will be a very sad game if it was Cooper Rush versus Kenny Pickett. I'm not gonna lie. We're building up for this season, but realistically, I think it'll be a different Eagles team if they find out early and they build a game plan around Kenny Pickett and Saquon rather than throwing him in halfway through the game. But still, 9.5 points seems like a lot. That defense is getting healthy for Dallas. I'll be happy to lose that fucking pick and secure the division. Put it that way.
Then we finish up Washington at Atlanta for the Sunday night football game. I don't know why Atlanta were in this one for Sunday night football, but here we are. 4.5-point favorites. I'm going to go Washington in So
Yeah, same. I think they've definitely. The other thing to realize is with all the flexing and things going around, it's very much strategic from the NFL now, because realistically, if the Eagles game was later and Washington was earlier, if Washington loses, well then fuck it, Eagles start pulling starters, right, for the last 2 weeks, because it's the Lions aren't gonna drop the next 2 games. So yeah, it's strategic to get viewers, put it that way.
nice. Then Detroit. Well, we're both going Washington, and then
Yeah.
Detroit, San Francisco. We're both going Detroit. That's a 3.5.
Surely it's not only 3.5 points.
3.5. 4. So the underdog at home Niners. Detroit outdoors one more time.
Yep.
It's a weird one, but I think Detroit's offense should still be fine against this Niners defense.
Yep. 100%. I agree.
And the total is I am trailing Gaz by 3 across the season. We've got 4 different, I think, this week. I managed to pick up another. I think we had 3 different this week, and I got 2 of them right. So
there you go.
Picked up another 1. But there you go. That's it. Episode 116 of NFL Straya Dunskies. The Christmas Eve show done. Feeling good. What's on for Christmas, Gaz?
Mate, I got. We have a little tradition of catching up with some people around the area at a bar down in Thornbury tonight, and then family all across tomorrow, and then I will wake up with a sore stomach and watch a bunch of football on Boxing Day.
Sounds good. Yeah, we do just, I don't know, too much driving.
Yeah, you don't know. Like for the next few weeks, we're at holiday house of Clements, right?
Yep, we're in the Chateau de l'Amour.
There you go.
On studios, which would be pretty fun.
Yeah, nice.
But we will be, actually still doing NFL Straya over the next couple of weeks, so don't worry about that. So we'll be doing what? Week 17 wrap on New Year's Eve. That'll be fun. Jesus, already hammered. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Either way, make sure that you're following us on Facey, Twitter, IG, TikTok, and of course YouTube. Get around the old YouTube. Producer Gerald has done a great job building all that up. And get around, obviously, all the other shows we've got. The AFL and AFLW Today shows. Cricket Today podcast. We've got a big Boxing Day test coming up. BBL is absolutely flying at the moment too. Get around the boys. Football Today podcast. And, of course, NBA Straya, my daily NBA show. Let's go tape big Christmas Eve Boxing Day special right now. That's it. Make sure you're following it all on the socials, all that sort of stuff. But also, all we ask for Christmas is that you rate, review, star, whatever you got to do for this show and those shows on your podcast apps.
Yep.
Or on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Rate, review, star, leave a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, your YouTube Music, your Spotify, all that sort of shit. Just do that. That'd be all we ask for Christmas.
Even if you listen to it on Spotify, you know what? Just put the YouTube on in the background, mute it, and then fuck off. Just let the stream play. We'll be right.
Go.
And the other thing is, look, I went in sneaky yesterday, Jim. I dropped into the Catfish and had just a beer and a cheesesteak with the missus, and started talking to the boys about how we're going to plan the soupy. It's not that far away.
Really
and
nice.
Our tradition's been there, and everyone's, back when we started, there was fucking options to go and see the Super Bowl. It was fucking thin, and now everyone's jumping on board. But the Catfish party is all like legit football fans. Come in, smash a cheesesteak, watch, give each other shit, have a great time. So we'll be live streaming, and we'll probably do some promo videos and all that sort of stuff leading up to it.
Oh yeah,
good time. Good time.
Nice one. All right. Any other plugs there, Gaz? You're up in Wollongong in January.
Yeah, in January. I should actually put something up on the Ramshackle Army page. I'm supposed to be doing that. But yeah, to promote, we're playing Illawarra Folk Festival. We said, hang on, you know that we're a loud, obnoxious punk band. And they're like, yeah, fucking go nuts. So we'll be closing the stages there. Matty O's going to be there. And I'm sure, well, you're assessing.
I was trying to, but I think that's the same weekend that we are away elsewhere with old mate's best mate and their family. So
fair enough.
Didn't work out. That's why I kept going. I think I might be able to too. And then I was
didn't happen.
Check. Wasn't able to pull it off. So.
Yeah,
rough one, I'll tell you. Anyway,
all right.
Sweet. Well, we will catch you next week, you dickheads. Have a great Christmas, and we'll catch you before 2024 finishes. So we'll catch you in a bit, you dickheads.
See yous.
Later, hosen.